The Land Use Working Group is made up of representatives from the Santa Fe Area Home Builders Association, the Santa Fe chapter of the American Institute of Architects, and the New Mexico Roofing Contractors Association. The group was formed to assist the Planning and Land Use Department in expanding its capacity to perform its work. The immediate goals of the working group were to see policies implemented and information shared that will improve efficiency and shorten wait times for permit approvals and inspections, to help identify, target, and support greater resources within the city budget, and to be partners in the implementation of new technologies and protocols that improve the overall system.
The industry associations composing the Land Use Working Group represent the building community members most affected by land use in Santa Fe. The Land Use Working Group came together to answer an overwhelming and continuous challenge being communicated to association leaders and administrators that specifically, permitting durations were, and have been, for the memorable past, nearly unworkable. In fact, many companies expressed the decision to not work on Santa Fe projects.
We employed UNM's geospatial and population data as compiled by Root Policy Research to frame the housing challenge our region faces today and anticipates confronting in the next 12 years. Ranked number 3 for household growth in New Mexico, the Santa Fe region is expected to experience an increase of over 7,000 residential units by 2035. Deploying that level of housing is the challenge, all while accounting for proper growth management, water and energy efficiency, expansion of city services, and maintaining the unique character that makes Santa Fe such an attractive place to reside. Housing supply has simply not kept pace with the demands of our population growth, and with an anticipated 6,000 plus jobs being created in the region by 2035, the glaring question is, where will these jobs go to spend the night?
Most of the challenges Land Use Working Group members have expressed revolve around the following challenging areas: communication issues, confusing, inconsistent code interpretations, and the resulting significant idle time or holding cost experienced by builders, remodelers, and trades companies. Technology issues were also cited as regular challenges. These items were ranked in a survey conducted in 2021 of Santa Fe area construction professionals.
The working group created a 5-question survey for users of the services of the Land Use Department. The purpose of this was to measure the pluses and minuses of the city process. The department received a 4.1 score out of 10 for efficiency of its operation. Major inconsistencies remain in the application of standards and timelines for the approval of permit applications. Inconsistencies create delays, impacting the cost and the coordination of contractors, equipment, and materials. The current reality cripples economic productivity, challenging the industry to meet housing capacity and demand. But the city has taken action. A permanent planning and land use director has been hired. There was a 19.8% increase to the land use budget in fiscal year 2022. An RFP was issued for review of the Land Development Code. Funds were committed for new staffing, growth management planning, code updates, and historic preservation. And $3 million as an annual target was set for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund.
In considering the developments on the horizon, Midtown, Las Estrellas, the Innovation Village, South Zia Station, to name only a few, our group is advocating for a policy shift which has been successfully employed by state and local governments across the nation. We support city staff efforts to create an express lane for certain building permits that ought to be more automated, expansion and refinement of the citizen self-service portal for larger scope permitting applications, increased staff. We believe there is another tool that could be employed to increase the capacity and efficiency at land use and planning, that being third-party plan review or plan check. What is third-party plan check or review? They are independent entities which are regulated, insured, bound by federal, state, or local government certifications, same as city plan reviewers, to review plans and specifications of construction projects. They approve plans, triggering the city to issue permits. Entities are pre-approved by the Land Use Department. Entities in other places that we have spoken with integrate seamlessly with existing local government plan review systems, with city building officials having the tools to audit the work of the outside party. Importantly, the city retains current fee structures with builders paying additional costs directly to the third party. Is this an equitable solution for our community to heightened construction demand? Yes. First, it is worth noting that one estimate for hiring a third-party plan review company for a moderately sized home costs the builder less than $800. This is a highly affordable avenue for a builder to take, especially when considering the time versus money paradigm of delay. In some cases, permits are reviewed and approved in less than a week using third party. The reasons for such an expedited process are several, but for starters, a company tends to have all the expertise at one table at one time, whereas the city is broken into different departments, each of which has to have plans passed to them for review one step at a time. Our vision for a third-party plan review or plan check policy contemplates no change to the FTE or part-time employee structure within the department. Vitally, this partnership with a third-party plan check will allow the city to better respond to the peaks and valleys of the residential and commercial construction industry without creating a department that is too large or too small, but rather maintain consistent staffing levels while also being responsive to the demands of our community. Third party in no way usurps the current process or contemplated process for growth management, community consultation, or neighborhood review of development.
The Land Use Working Group found multiple agencies across the country who were having success. Their processes were reviewed and the common systems present in those agencies identified. It was found that successful agencies embrace third-party plan check as an outlet or alternative to commonly overwhelmed permitting and inspections agencies. The most notable successes seem to be realized in the state of Georgia and the city of El Paso, Texas. It is important to note that these successful third-party processes were available as an alternative, at additional costs borne by the builders and trades choosing to use them, and state and city revenue resources remained unchanged. The cost offsets were clearly economical in terms of reduced idle or holding time costs.
Finally, we'd like to leave everyone with a question to contemplate, a question on whose answer depends an opportunity for greater economic muscle for our city. Are we ready for 2035? Given all of the data that assumes we need to deploy 7,000 plus households responsive to the creation of over 6,000 jobs by 2035, can Santa Fe get there? We believe third-party plan check is a part of solving this puzzle. A peek at the economic value and annual property tax revenue to the city here, current residential property valuation with the city limits is over $3.6 billion. This nets to the city annually and recurring a property tax revenue of $29 million. Commercial property valuation exceeds $3.8 billion, netting the city a recurring annual commercial property tax revenue of over $42 million. This is a current total tax revenue generated of $71 million. So here is the imaginable future, with the positive caveat that these figures do not include increased GRT, multiplier effects from economic activity in the construction industry, or consumer spending. Reflecting back on the initial slides, there exists an 11% expected household growth in Santa Fe by 2035. This will mean new recurring revenue will be generated from property tax for the city. Using 11% as the estimated increase in residential housing, the projected residential property valuation in 2035 will be over $4 billion. This means in 2035, new additional recurring property tax revenue to the city will increase by $3 million to well over $32 million. We did not calculate the impact of increased activity in the commercial property sector. This could be an interesting study for the economists in the city, but to be sure, an increased commercial property footprint will also be a significant increase in city revenue.
The Land Use Working Group is asking for the amendment of city policy to provide for third-party plan check. This will build the foundation for a flourishing housing and construction industry, and through appropriate action of our governing body, is urgently needed to serve the public welfare of our city. We encourage city staff and elected officials to pass legislation responsive to this policy shift as soon as possible and expand the capacity of our land use department.